So, you're thinking about taking the IELTS exam. And I get it. It feels like this huge, intimidating thing looming over you, right? It's like 1 minute you're just living your life, and the next, you have to prove you can, speak English to a computer or a person, which is honestly kind of a weird concept if you think about it for too long. But this test is literally the key to so many doors. Whether you're dreaming of studying at some cool university abroad, landing a job that feels more aligned with your soul, or just completely starting a new chapter of your life in a different country, the IELTS is often that first super important step. It's the gatekeeper, And it's not just about passing, it's about feeling confident while you do it. The pressure is real, I won't lie. It feels like your entire future is riding on this one score. But here's the thing, and I really want you to hear this. Preparing for it doesn't have to be this soul-crushing, anxiety-inducing experience. It can actually be, dare I say, kind of an interesting journey. It's a chance to really connect with the language in a new way, to push yourself and to see what you're capable of. It's like training for a marathon, but instead of your legs, it's your brain. And instead of a finish line, it's a plane ticket or a university acceptance letter. So today we're going to break it all down. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of it all, but in a way that feels manageable and not at all overwhelming. I want to talk about how to actually prepare, not just in a textbook way, but in a way that fits into your real, messy human life. We're going to go through some tips and tricks that I think will genuinely help you feel more grounded and ready to walk into that exam room and just do your thing. We're going to turn this mountain into a series of small, climbable hills. Let's get into it. First things first, we need to actually understand what we're dealing with. The IELTS isn't just one big scary English test, it's actually 4 mini tests rolled into one. You've got listening, reading, writing and speaking. And each one is like its own little universe with its own rules and vibe. You can't just go in blind. That would be like showing up to a party without knowing the dress code. Are we talking formal? Casual? Is it a costume party? You need to know the deal, Knowing the format is basically getting the party invitation with all the details on it. So, the listening part is where you listen to some recordings. It could be like a conversation or a lecture, and you have to answer questions about it. It's all about catching details while someone is talking, which honestly can be hard enough in real life. Then you have the reading section where they give you these long passages and you have to dissect them for information. It's a lot of text and you have to be a bit of a detective. The writing section is where you have to put your thoughts onto paper. You'll probably have to describe a chart or a graph and then write a whole essay on some topic. It's your moment to be a writer, an intellectual. And finally, there's the speaking test, which is literally just a conversation with an examiner. I know it sounds terrifying, like a job interview for your entire personality, but it's just a chat. They want to see how you express yourself, how you form ideas, and how you just handle a conversation. Understanding these 4 parts isn't just about knowing what's coming, it's about strategy. It allows you to mentally prepare for each shift in focus. You know when to be a listener, when to be a reader, a writer, and a speaker. It removes the element of surprise, which is the number one cause of anxiety, I'm pretty sure. So let's get familiar. It's the first step to not freaking out. Okay, so now that we know the layout of this whole thing, the next logical step is to actually, it. But in a low-stakes way, I'm talking about practice tests. I know the word test is triggering, but we have to reframe it. Think of it less like a test and more like a dress rehearsal. You wouldn't perform a play on opening night without ever having run through the scenes, right? That would be chaos. You'd miss your cues, forget your lines. It would be a mess. Practice tests are your rehearsal. They are your safe space to mess up and be like, oh, okay, so what that feels like. Getting your hands on real or super realistic sample questions is crucial. It's not just about answering the questions correctly, it's about getting a feel for the whole experience. The timing is a huge part of it. The clock is always ticking, and it can create this internal pressure that makes your brain go fuzzy. By doing practice runs, you start to develop an internal clock. You begin to understand, on a gut level, how long you can spend on one reading passage or how quickly you need to structure your essay. It's about building that muscle memory so that on the actual test day, the timing doesn't feel like a surprise attack. And honestly, it's also about getting familiar with the weird ways they ask questions. Sometimes the wording is like a little bit tricky on purpose, and it's designed to trip you up if you're not paying attention. The more you see these question types, the less weird they become. You start to recognize the patterns. It's like, oh, I've seen this kind of question before. I know what they're asking here. It's about demystifying the whole process. So find those sample tests online, in books, wherever you can, and just start doing them. No judgment, no pressure, just you and the test figuring each other out. This might sound a little intense, but hear me out. To get really good, really comfortable with English, you kind of have to immerse yourself in it. It can't just be this thing you study for an hour a day and then forget about. It needs to become part of the fabric of your daily life. Think about it. The goal is to be so comfortable with the language that you're not constantly translating in your head. You want it to feel natural, almost like an extension of your own thoughts. And the only way to get there is to make it your default setting for a while. So what does that actually look like? It's about the small things, honestly. Instead of scrolling through social media in your native language, switch the language settings to English. Watch your favorite comfort show, but with English subtitles. Or if you're feeling brave, no subtitles at all. Listen to a podcast in English while you're doing the dishes or going for a walk. Find one about a topic you're actually interested in, whether it's true crime or celebrity gossip or astrophysics. It shouldn't feel like a chore. It should feel like you're just consuming media you already enjoy, but in a different language. And you have to use the language too, not just consume it. Start a journal or even just a note on your phone where you write down 1 or 2 sentences about your day in English. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece. It could be as simple as, today I felt tired and I ate a really good sandwich. Seriously, if you have a friend who's also learning, try to have conversations in English, even if it's awkward at first. The point is to make the language active in your brain, not passive. You're building new pathways, making English a place your mind goes to automatically. And that is going to be the biggest game changer of all. Let's talk about the real enemy of the IELTS exam, the clock. It's this silent, stressful presence that can make even the most prepared person start to panic. Time management isn't just a good idea on this test. It's everything. You could know all the English in the world, but if you spend 40 minutes on the first reading passage, you're not going to finish. It's a brutal truth. So we need a plan. We need to go in there with a strategy for how we're going to spend our precious minutes. For the reading section, for example, you have 60 minutes to answer 40 questions based on 3 long passages. That's not a lot of time. So you can't just leisurely read every single word from start to finish. You have to be strategic. This means learning to skim and scan. Skimming is when you quickly read to get the general idea, the vibe of the text. Scanning is when you're looking for specific information, like a name or a date. You need to look at the questions first, so you know what you're hunting for, and then go into the text like a detective on a mission. Don't get bogged down in words you don't know. If it's not essential to answering the question, just move on. The same idea applies to the writing section. You have 2 tasks, and the second one is worth more points. So you have to allocate your time accordingly. It's generally recommended to spend about 20 minutes on task 1 and 40 minutes on task 2. You have to be strict with yourself. When that 20-minute mark hits, you have to force yourself to move on to the next task, even if you feel like your first piece isn't perfect. It's better to have 2 completed tasks than 1 perfect one and one that's half finished. Practicing with a timer is the only way to make this feel less horrifying on test day. You have to train yourself to respect the clock so it feels less like an enemy and more like maybe not a friend, but like a strict coach that you respect. Okay, this might be the most important part, so listen up. You are going to make mistakes. A lot of them. Especially when you're doing those practice tests we talked about. And your first instinct is probably going to be To feel bad about it, to see a low score and think, I'm never going to pass this thing. But we have to completely flip that mindset. Your mistakes are not failures, they are, and I'm being so serious right now, your greatest teachers. They are little signposts pointing directly to what you need to work on. So, after you finish a practice test, the work isn't over. That's actually when the real learning begins. You have to sit down with your wrong answers and perform an autopsy. I know that sounds grim, but it's true. Why did you get this question wrong? Did you misunderstand the question? Did you not know a specific vocabulary word? Did you just run out of time and guess? For writing, maybe you can find someone to look over your essays. For speaking, you can record yourself and listen back. I know listening to your own voice is cringe, but it's so helpful. You'll notice all the little ums and ahs and the pauses where you were searching for a word. This process of review is how you actually improve. It's how you stop making the same mistakes over and over again. Maybe you realize you have a recurring grammar issue, or that you always get tricked by true, false, not given questions. Now you know exactly what to study. It's so much more efficient than just randomly reading a grammar book. You're targeting your specific weaknesses. So embrace being wrong. Get excited when you find a mistake, because it's an opportunity. It's a little clue on your treasure map to getting a better score. It's not about being perfect from the start. It's about being a little bit better today than you were yesterday. So that's the deal. Preparing for the IELTS is a journey for sure. It's a marathon, not a sprint, which is such a cliche, but it's honestly true. The biggest favor you can do for your future self, the one who has to walk into that exam room, is to start early. Don't leave it all until the last few weeks. The more time you give yourself, the less panicked you'll feel. It allows the language and the strategies to really sink in, to become second nature instead of something you're desperately trying to cram into your brain. Start small. Just do one little thing today. Maybe watch a video in English or learn 5 new vocabulary words. Just start. This test can feel like it holds so much power over your future, and that's a heavy weight to carry around. But I want you to remember that at the end of the day, it's just a test. It's a series of questions on a piece of paper or a screen. It doesn't define your intelligence, your worth, or the amazing things you're going to do in your life. It's just a hurdle you have to clear to get to the next exciting part of your adventure. You are so much more than a band score. So be kind to yourself through this process. Acknowledge the hard work you're putting in and be proud of yourself for even trying. I'm genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, wishing you all the luck in the world. Not that you'll need it, because you're going to prepare and you're going to be ready. Walk into that test with a quiet confidence, knowing you've done what you can. Take a deep breath, trust your brain, and just do your thing. You are capable, you are smart, and you are going to do great. I believe in you. Good luck.